Brina didn't sleep that night, not because she was afraid, but because she was awake in a way she hadn't been before. The torn page, now whole, lay beside her bed, perfectly dry. The smooth green stone Ellric had once given her sat cold in her palm, and her breath, even in the quiet, felt too loud. She lit a candle and watched the flame for hours, unsure whether she wanted it to flicker or go out. The morning came like a memory she hadn't earned yet. Her mother made tea. Her father whistled the same out-of-tune melody he always did while folding laundry. The world spun as it always had, but Brina didn't move through it the same way. Something in her had shifted, gently but permanently, like furniture quietly rearranged while she slept. She didn't tell anyone where she'd been or what she'd seen, but she noticed things now. Little things. The way the fog curled differently near the blackberry field. How a window in the mill house had a crack shaped like the letter B. How the wind paused a moment too long at the hilltop before passing over. These weren't signs, just reminders that something had been touched and had touched her back. She returned to the bridge 2 days later, not to cross it, just to sit nearby. It stood the same as always, weathered wood, moss-bitten railings, the signpost long since faded. But now, it felt more settled, like it wasn't waiting for anything, just being. Brina spread out her blanket, pulled her notebook from her satchel, began to sketch, not the bridge, but what she remembered from the other side. The room of mirrors, the flame that wasn't fire, Ellric's voice saying, "You." She didn't try to understand it all. She just drew. The next afternoon, she returned again, and someone was already there. May, from the bakery. She stood quietly at the top of the slope, her eyes on the bridge. "I had a dream," she said, not looking over. "My brother was in it. He passed 12 winters ago, but in the dream he was still 12, and he was laughing again." Brina nodded, saying nothing. May stepped closer to the bridge, pulled something from her pocket, a tiny wooden horse no bigger than a walnut, and placed it gently at the edge of the planks. Then she turned and walked back down the hill. Brina stayed, watched the fog pull close, and when she looked again, the wooden horse was gone. After that, others came. Not many, and not all at once, but one by one, like a rhythm. An old man left a folded handkerchief with initials embroidered in gold. A little girl tied a yellow ribbon to the railing, kissed the wood, and ran away. Someone, Brina never saw who, laid a sprig of lavender and a small photo face down on the ground, and the bridge remained, silent, still, receiving. Brina began writing again. Not stories, not really. More like moments, tiny truths. The sound of her father cracking his knuckles while reading. The smell of rain before it came. The way Ellric used to stand with his arms folded behind his back like he was holding in more than words. She didn't write to be understood. She wrote so nothing would be forgotten. Ellric didn't return right away. But one evening, as dusk folded over the hills like a soft blanket, Brina heard footsteps behind her on the path. She didn't turn, just waited. And then, still sitting in the same spot, his voice, familiar, dry, kind. She turned. Ellric looked older than before, but not in the way people age. He looked lighter, like someone who had finished carrying something heavy. She didn't run to hug him, didn't gasp or cry. She just moved over on the blanket and made space. He sat beside her. They watched the bridge together as the wind pulled gently through the grass. Brina passed him half a roll and a bit of cheese she'd brought. They ate quietly. Then she asked, "Are you staying this time?" Ellric nodded slowly. "I think so." "Why?" Because I'm not looking for anything anymore. She considered that, then looked down at her hands. You said once that every answer costs more than the question. I did. Did you pay too much? Ellric smiled, not sadly. I paid exactly what it was worth. The next morning the fog was gone. Not vanished like before, just lifted, like a curtain finally drawn back. In its place, wildflowers had begun to grow along the slope leading to the bridge. Tiny blue ones, bright yellow ones, and a few with petals Brina had never seen before. She walked the path alone, early, sat in the same spot, watched the way light moved through the railing now. It was just a bridge, no longer a warning, no longer a riddle, just part of the land again. That day, a boy no older than 7 wandered near with his older sister. He picked up a green stone from the grass, turned it over in his palm, then placed it gently back. Brina watched from a distance. He looked at her, said nothing, but she could see it in his eyes. He felt it too. Ellric never left again. Sometimes he walked the fields, helped patch fences, shared stories with the old-timers at the market. But most days he just sat near the bridge with Brina, sketching, remembering, letting the silence speak first. And the bridge? It stayed, as it was, as it had always meant to be. A place not for answers, but for returning.